name is Kara Mezek. I'm a branch assistant for the Wicomico Public Libraries at the Center Branch, and today we're going to be doing some autumn painting as part of our Cozy Crafting program. So for this activity, you're going to need some cardstock, which I have here, and you'll want to have something to cover your surface. I'm going to be using acrylic paint and tempera paint. You can use one or the other, or you can use both. You'll need to have some Q-tips. You'll need to have tissues or napkins, either one works, and you'll need to have a paper plate or something to use as a paint palette. All the supplies that's needed for this craft can actually be found at your local Walmart, including the acrylic paints. So let's get started. So for this painting, we're going to be completely covering the entire sheet of the cardstock. What I'm doing here is I'm adding a combination of blue and white tempera paint. So I have them blended together a little bit, just like this. I have some tissues here that I'm folding in half. And I'm going to do a tri-fold. Now I'm folding a small square. And this is going to be my blending. So right now, I'm just going to make sure I have both colors here on the tissues. So it looks a bit like that. And I'm going to start making a wave motion. Oh yeah. We're going to continue this technique till we're about halfway down our sheet of cardstock here. The nice thing about using tempera paints for this technique is that it does this amazing blending. Keep working our way down just a little bit more. I don't want to go too much farther. Alright, so I'm going to stop right about there. I'm just smoothing over a couple extra places, also absorbing any extra paint that I may have left on the cardstock. This will help it dry faster. That's about perfect to me. So now I'm going to switch over to acrylics. I have some green and some white. And I'm going to do the same technique on my palette where I'm going to make a couple lines. I'm not adding too much white this time. I just want to add enough that I'll get some different textures and some different highlights when I start making my hills. We're doing the same thing with more tissue, tri-folding, making a square. Clearing off the extra, setting this aside. I have my green and white. So now I'm going to start right where the sky stops. I'm going to make a V shape. So the reason that I chose to do acrylics and tempera is because the tempera tends to dry faster, and it's also more of like a watercolor base, and the acrylics are more solid. So my hills and my grass will stand out more, and the sky will be more of like a background. It's so much easier to apply the acrylics over the tempera paint as we're doing right now. I'm going to add a little bit more white right in here. So also, as you'll notice, if you're using tissues, as I am, with the acrylics, then you'll end up needing to fold this backwards, just to keep your tissues from ripping. Let's fill this in a little bit. I'm actually going to take the time to add a little bit more green to my palette here. When you're finishing up on those edges, make sure to continue using your arch shape. I'm doing the same technique that we did with the sky. I'm smoothing everything out, picking up any excess, continuing with my arch shape. All right, nice and smooth. So now we're going to add some more colors. We're going to be making some autumn trees. This part is really fun. You don't need a lot of your extra colors, so just a little bit of brown here. I've got a really nice burgundy color I'm excited about using. And of course, we can't have autumn without our yellows and our oranges. All right, put my paints aside here, and now it's time to break out the Q-tips. All right, so I'm going to start right on the edge. I'm just bringing this all the way up. All right, so that's my straight line for the trunk of my tree. I'm going to start a little bit more than halfway up, so maybe like 3/4 of the way up. Start curving some branches out. Make sure you blend them all the way back into the trunk. Since we're using Q-tips, you'll be able to see your strokes more. adding some lower branches as I go. Alright, that's my first one, and I think I'm going to add a second one on the side here. I'm going to go closer to the edge this time. I'm going to have it coming into my picture. Again, same technique, curving my branches into my tree. So before we begin adding our color, you should have a project that looks like this. Now I'm going to take about 3 Q-tips here. And I think I'm going to start with yellow. Just gently dipping them into my paint. One dab off the excess. And now we're going to make little clusters of color around the branches. Not too many. Keep in mind we have 3 other colors that we're going to add. Adding the same color to my second tree. Alright, and then we're going to repeat this process. Another 3. I think I'm going to add orange next. Orange and yellow always go good together in the fall. So I've decided that I only want to add a little bit of red, so I'm just going to take 1 Q-tip, add a couple free dots here and there, 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 there. Doesn't have to be a rhyme or reason for this part. Alright, and for our last step, this is completely optional. While those are drying, I'm going to take a little bit of brown and just spread out the base of my tree trunk here. I'm just quickly and lightly dabbing the tree trunk. I'm almost making a triangle going into the ground. And since we're doing some autumn painting, I'm going to take my Q-tips that we just used, and I'm going to add some leaves on the ground, adding more dots, just a few. Got some orange going down here. And I'm going to go back to that red, just add a couple extra little ones. Alright. And here is our finished product. Thank you everyone so much for watching and for participating with us in Wicomico Public Library's crafts. We will see you next time.